I'm higher vibrations and so are you. And the dark night of the soul is something that all of us are experiencing. If not having already, we will or are at this moment. So let's talk about it for a minute. The dark night of the soul has a lot of different characteristics that not everyone's going to experience, or at the very least, not in the same order as each person, because we're all having our own unique experience, right? We really are unique snowflakes, beautiful and different in every way. But there are similarities, right? So, what is it? Well, it's a falling away of old self, really, is what it comes down to. But what it feels like is severe depression. It feels really not fun, and honestly, if someone told me what I was going through when I was in it, it would have been a lot better, a lot easier at the first, rounds of it. It would have been a lot easier for me to go through. I know. Once I learned the name, the phrase, the dark night of the soul, I was able to look it up, and I found a few very useful and informative videos on YouTube. And I don't know if that point I was already almost done with it, or the initial one, or if I and that was what made it so it was almost done, or learning about it helped me, you know what I mean? But it seems like there's just so much power in knowledge. So it's like Great Depression, as we slowly, it's a deconstructive period where those identifiers, those labels, those things that we kind of build a box up to say this is me, start to fall away. You know, we have so many, like, for instance, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a neighbor, I'm and then also our abilities and the things that we like to do. I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a cook, and um, all those types of things, you know, are self-imposed prisons that we have built up around ourselves, keeping ourselves contained and eliminating our ability to fly. And so, as this massive tower of blocks gets knocked down, each one of those blocks being one of those identifiers, it's unpleasant. It's startling. It's kind of scary, and there's definitely a period of depression that is associated with it. All of everything that you've ever known to be who you are isn't, and it's time to reevaluate it and look at the possibility that it might not have been in the first place. And then you get to start building again after the great Jenga, destruction, deconstruction. Then we get to start building up who we truly are. And you'll find, I have found that who I am isn't so many blocks. That all those blocks really, like I said, were just hindering me and keeping me from who I truly am. The more that we grow into something new, the more that we realize it's not something new at all. It's who you are. That was just hidden and is being revealed a little bit at a time. It's a time of moving from one house to another. And as you do, you think that you're going to take all of your things with you, all your stuff. Everything that you have packed your house full with are your important treasures. They have sentimental value. They might be useful in the future for whatever reason that you stored them away in those corners, in those places in your house. As you start to pack, as you start to get ready to move to your new home, you start to see all these different things and wonder why you even own them. Like, how did they even make it into my house to begin with? Let alone, how have they been here this long? And as we empty out those corners and dust away the shadows, the light can touch those parts of us. For we are that house. We are a temple. We are the temples of God. And so within those spaces, we find that we don't actually need to take those things with us. And some of them, it's okay. You don't need to get rid of all of them right away. Some of those things, you may have too much attachment to. And that's okay. In my personal experience, I found that the more that I resisted this evolution, this process, the longer that it took for me. It lasts different lengths of time for every person, and there's no cookie cutter. So I don't really feel correct in telling you what timeline you might be experiencing. However, I would love to deliver this beautiful news, is that we are in a time right now where the stage is set perfectly for this. The light is so much different right now, so much more. The waves, the I don't know, the flow of the water is more rapid and cleansing at this time, allowing for this growth period, for this cleansing to fully envelop and create this beautiful thing that you truly are in such a faster, more efficient way. This is the best time for the dark night of the soul. This is the time, and yeah, faster isn't always better. Faster isn't always exactly what feels the most pleasant, because there's definitely depression associated with this. Relationships are falling away that we're seeing no longer serve us. Things about ourselves, traditions, belief systems, ideals, all of these things that we have carried around and that have been barriers for us are falling away. It goes back as far as you can reach to see that these things that have been set up around us, right? But now we get to slowly deconstruct in order to reconstruct, to put yourself back together in a more harmonious and more beautiful and pure love way. It's really amazing. There are several versions of it, I have had several dark nights of the soul, and the experience that we've had recently where we've been in like 5D and 3D and 5D and we're like, yay, back and forth, is very much, like doses of dark nights of the soul, as we are all having these different periods of cleansing that needs to occur right now. And the air is harmonious for this. It's set up for this moment. We are in the period of the three. There's 3 periods, right? So if you look at, let's go to the Bible. So the Bible has, the first book is like the Old Testament, and that's, the book of God, right? Like the book of the Father. And then you go to the New Testament and you have, that's basically the book of Jesus, and that's the book of the Son, the era of the Son. And as we go through each one of these eras, we don't leave behind the beautiful things that we have gleaned from those. We take them with us, right? And now we are in the period of the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost, the inner knowing, the intuition, the connectedness, the heart center. And if you're like me, being raised in a way to think that believing that you're somehow connected to God was considered blasphemous and like holding yourself above God, this is the time for that to fall away too. And that's the example of another example of something that needs to occur right now. We have so many little things that have been holding us back and keeping us from the sunlight of the Spirit. We are of God. We are one. God is love, and God is all. If that is true, which I believe it is, belief isn't even a strong enough word to say how I feel about that. If that is true, then how is it possible that you can't be? We are. And part of who we are is our ego. Ego is not something that we need to destroy. Ego is not something to kill. The death of the ego is more of a changing in positions in the vehicle. Up to now, at least for me, and I think many of us have, not only allowed the ego to drive, but we've let the ego be the car. The ego has been our gas. The ego has been the road and the destination, the roadmap. The ego has decided everything. The ego is supposed to be in the back seat. The ego is important. It's a part of us that helps us be here in this time, in this place, where we are right now. So the switching of seats is also part of that dark night of the soul, to reestablish. And it feels like for the first time, but it's not. Who actually is driving? You're the one driving, not your ego. And right now, there is this beautiful wave full of love, full of light, full of new beginnings and hope that the water is receding and swelling into this massive wave. The energy is set. The excited energy of here it comes is in the air. The time is now. You're not alone in this process. Something that can be very helpful, that was useful for me, was there's a lot of different information that you can look up, but it's called shadow work. It's doing the dark night of the soul with intention. This stuff doesn't have to fall out of the sky and hit you upside the head. If you take an active role in your growth, it's so much more, not just easier, but beautiful. We're not accidents. Things aren't happening randomly. Everything is set up for us to explore and become, to become again who we are, who we truly are. Explore that. Look into the shadow work. There are a few different guided meditations, but mainly what it is looking at the inside of yourself, those parts of you that you haven't wanted to look at. Going down the spiral staircase into your basement and into the darkness and see what you hid in there, and to just hug it. Give it the love that you had felt like you shouldn't. That's what happened with me. Any of the things that I felt like were incorrect in some way, or that I didn't really want to experience, I would push away and ignore. And by doing that, I didn't solve any problems. I just brushed it under the carpet. And they're still there. That inner child still needs your love. That kid that did something that you didn't like, that child just needs a hug. All those different things, all those different reasons that you feel insecure or self-questioning, holding yourself up in judgment, those things aren't real. That's self-imprisonment that we have imposed on ourselves. Give it love. Because if you're in a place of love, then everything else falls away. But if we're in a place of self-judgment, love cannot be had, because we can't love ourselves. I hope this helped in some small way. We are in a beautiful time, and you're not alone. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Share this with somebody else. There are so many of us going through this right now. Even the old pros, the people who've done this a lot of times, there's a lot of layers, right? There's a lot to explore. There's a lot of things that we just need to look at and dust away the shadows so we can go on to the next thing. We got this. Please comment, participate, comment on someone else's comment. Send me an email. My email is in every one of these videos in the description. You're not alone. We're almost there. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope blessings.